Hey, this is Jim, students. Welcome to Classwork Homework 8.5 MMMR, standing for mean, median, mode, and range. Practice homework. It's due tomorrow. Calculus okay. Make sure to write your video score up here at the top. So let's just quickly review today all the measures of center, including adding two new ones, the mode and the range, and figure out exactly what they are, and then let's just practice them. All right, so first off, the mean. You know, the mean is the average of a set of numbers. You can think of it as like a fair share if you just take all your values and divide them up evenly. Next, how do we calculate? We're going to add up all our values and divide by how many data points we have. And finally, what's it used for? To give us a sense of a central value. So, for instance, if I have a whole bunch of different data points based on my grades, a mean or an average would, if I add them up and divide by it, would tell me on average what I'm usually getting in that class. Next is the median. Here's what it is. It is the middle of a sorted list of numbers. How we calculate it is we order our list from least to greatest, and then we find the middle. Remember, if there are two values in the center, we add them both up and divide by 2 in order to find the value. And what it's used for is that it helps us find our central value with outliers. So if I had, points per game in basketball, I'm scoring 10, 10, 12, 11, 13, but then all of a sudden one game I score 45, like that's going to throw off my average, right? So I want to find a central value which would be closer to all the other values that I have when I'm playing basketball, and the median is going to work with that. Next, we have the mode. So the mode is simply the number that occurs the most in your value set. How you calculate it is you're simply going to find the value that appears most frequently, and it's usually used for determining preference or popularity, right? Like when we vote, that's a good example of the mode, right? Like it's the person that gets the most votes that ends up winning an election. Finally, we have the range. The range can be thought as the spread of the data, and you calculate it very easily by taking the biggest value and subtracting it by the smallest value. We use the range in order to see how far apart our data spreads, right? If I want to know, on the test, this was the highest score, this is the lowest score. Okay, so what was the range between that? All right, so let's do a couple practice problems with this. First, we have a whole bunch of ages here for the first time somebody had a job. First thing you always want to do is order these numbers. As you order them, it would be helpful to find the smallest, and then as soon as you find it, cross it off, and then you're looking for the next smallest, right? This is the part where you can make mistakes if you're not super careful. So you have to be very diligent about finding every number and carefully crossing it off. If you go too fast, you will definitely make a mistake. You'll be without 1 or 2 data points, which will totally ruin your mean or your median or any of your other measures of center here. So as I do this, 1, 2, 5, there are 5 18s, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've crossed off every data point. All right, so let's find the mean. Remember, if you go back, it's to the definition, it's the average, so you add it all up, all the values, and divide by how many you have. But when I add everything up, if I've done it correctly and don't have clumsy thumbs, I get 235. I had 15 data points, so that's why I divide by 15. My answer is 15.666 repeated, so we'll round to 15.7 years. The median is going to be the middle, so we're going to cross off one at a time. I know that I have 15 numbers, so that means I have an odd amount of numbers, which means I'll just have 1 in the center. So I could do 7 crossed off on each side, and just 1 left over. When I cross 7 off on my left end and 7 off on my right end, I get what's left over, which is 16. And my median, in fact, is 16. And it's 16 years. My mode is simply the one value that occurs the most. And in this case, it's pretty obvious. 18 occurs 5 times. So I'm not going to say 5. I'm going to say 18 years. That means most people are getting their job in this data set at 18 years old. And my range is simply my biggest value, which is 18, minus my smallest value, which is 11, which means I have about a spread of 7 years when it comes to my range. Important thing about the mode is if 2 values tie for being the most, like if I had 17 5 times as well, both 18 and 17 would be the mode. All right? Number 2, I'd like you to do an ed puzzle. I'm going to help you out by ordering that set. There are 15 data points again, so find me the mean, median, mode, and range. So for your mean, I forgot a 9 there. All right. Also, you're going to have 17 data points in this. So find your subtotal, which is 104. You round to the nearest tenth, which is 6.1. Your median, if you have 17 data points, that means you're going to cross off 8 guys on the left-hand side and 8 guys on the right-hand side. Meaning, you just have one value in the middle, which is 6, and so your median is 6. The value that occurs the most is obviously 5, because it pops up 5 times. So 5 goals is the most. These are all goals. Average of 6.1 goals per game. And then your range is simply going to be 11 minus 2, which is 9 goals. Okay. The rest you're going to finish yourself. When you have length of book tiles, these are dot plots. Notice 3 dots on 1 means you have 3 1s. 5 dots on 2 means you have 5 2. And 1 dot on 3 means you have 1 3. The nice thing about that is it's already ordered for you. Okay. The rest is yours. Good luck. Call me if you have questions.